So in 2026, with having credit cards, auto loans, consumer debt easily accessible in today's world, I want to see how young adults are striving financially. It seems like everybody that we know in person is actually into debt or struggling financially. So even when you go online, you start to see 20-year-olds making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. And I'm starting to feel like, am I actually falling behind financially, or is it all just perception? So in this video, I'm going to dive deep into the truth and see, are we actually behind, or is it just what the internet makes it seem like? So as of 2026 quarter one, the median income for ages 20 through 34 is actually $55,000, which comes out to about $1,057 per week. Now, if your income isn't nowhere near this $1,000 mark per week yet, just remember that the younger you are, you don't have as much work experience, so you can't really compare yourself to somebody who's 34 years old and has a ton of experience working, because growing your income actually takes time. And I remember in 2021, when I first started working full time, I started making $770 every single week, and this was before tax. And that is currently the job that I work at today. And 5 years later, in 2026, I was able to bring in around $1,365 as of 2026. So just make sure that your number one priority whenever you're younger is actually to increase your income, since you'll have a lot more time to grow your income, and then also you'll be able to take on more failures since you don't have as much responsibilities. And income is the number one wealth building tool, since the more money that you're able to bring in, the more money you're going to be able to invest into your own business, your stocks, or even real estate. And even though my net worth is close to $200,000, I wish I would have focused on increasing my income, because I used to just save all of my money, but I was only limited to how much money I could save and invest based off of how much money I'm able to make. So the range that I was able to invest within my 5 years since I started working full time was $1,500 to $2,700, just because I was limited to my job income. And now I wish I would have had more money to invest, but that's just not the case since I didn't focus on increasing my income at my earlier ages. So yeah, I'm gonna be stuck investing $2,700 until I officially increase my income to $10,000 a month, and hopefully then I'll be able to invest around $5,000 or just $7,000 every single month. Just think about how much faster you'll be able to increase your income if you actually were able to invest $7,000 every single month. And not just that, eventually if you want to quit your job or just even retire early, then staying at a low income is not going to speed that process up for you at any point. But if you have the ability to generate your own income, you'll be able to quit your job and you don't have to wait 30-40 years to actually have enough in your nest egg to retire. So now moving on to the median savings for ages 34 and under is $5,400 according to Experian. Now this potentially could just be a little bit higher, just based off of the higher income earners just being able to save more money. Because if you actually look at it, I personally believe that most people that I know don't even have close to $1,000 in their savings. And even for the higher income earners that I know, they still spend all of their money into cars or just anything that they want. And let's just say that this number is even true, $5,400 is still not enough for an emergency fund, especially for 3 to 6 months. Like, yes, $5,000 is a good amount of money to actually get you through financial hardships, but it's still not enough to actually keep you comfortable in the long term. So that's why in finance, the general baseline for emergency fund is 3 to 6 months. And if you do not have currently 3 to 6 months of your monthly spendings, then at least have $1,000 in your savings just to cover anything small or minor that ends up coming up. So now we're going to cover the average debt for ages 34 and under. And as of 2023, it was about $46,000. So this is probably going to be a lot higher as of 2026 since everything is a lot more expensive. And then now you have financial services like buy now, pay laters. Credit cards are easily accessible. Even buying a car in today's world is very easy to get, since now you probably don't even need the down payment to actually get the car you want. So yeah, just think about it. Student loans, credit cards, auto loans, mortgages, the interest rate has gone up, so you're now paying more to actually borrow money. And I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but a lot of services like Robinhood and stuff offer gambling. They don't call it gambling, but in a sense it still is gambling. And now these gambling companies are making so much money that they're paying influencers to influence you to go on their gambling sites that they're sponsored by. So yeah, hopefully you haven't fallen into the trap that the system now has against you, and hopefully you don't have any debt. But if you do have any type of debt, it's time to get rid of it and slowly start paying it off, so that way you can start investing and building your net worth. Now think about it, if the average net worth is in the negative, just even having a $0 net worth, it's still above majority of the people in today's world. Like personally, I think the bar is set very low, and that's something that you can overachieve if you just do the small things, you cut down on your spendings, and you take your finances seriously. Like, majority of the people don't even have real investments, and I'm not talking about your Dogecoins, I'm not talking about your meme stocks and crypto. I'm talking about actual investments like the S&P 500. Instead, they'd rather just waste $700 to $600 on a brand new car that's going to depreciate over time. So yeah, hopefully you know where you stand financially, and hopefully you realize that the bar isn't really set that high and that you can easily get ahead of most people if you actually take it serious. And even though that it's not good to compare to other people, it's still good to compare and realize what they're doing wrong, so that way you don't make the same mistakes. So going forward, if you see a 20-year-old that's making $1 million every single month, don't compare and just use it as motivation. Just realize that you're probably doing a lot better than majority of the people, and just even having structure alone is already ahead of the curve, since about 80% of Americans are into debt, and that's pretty much everybody that you see walking. So don't feel bad if you currently have any debt. Just make sure that you realize it and you have a plan to attack that debt, so that way you can start investing and just flipping the roles into your favor. Because if you don't know by now, debt is the biggest wealth killer, and it's literally taking money out of your pocket every single time that you get into debt. So just depending on your age, the younger that you can actually focus and start getting your finances together, the better off you're going to be. And even if you're at your upper ages of 30, you still have about 20 to 30 years before you even retire. So start implementing good habits that's going to get you to where you want to go. And make sure you know how much you have in savings, how much you have invested, your assets, your liabilities, your net worth, and your income, how much of your income you're actually saving, so that way you can increase it. And like I already said, even if you don't know these numbers and you start learning these numbers today, then just having that structure is already ahead of most people in this world. Now, I want to give you a few steps that you can start taking today, so that way you can start getting ahead of most people, or just get to wherever you want in life. The first step that I want you to do is to get 1 month of your monthly spendings, so that way if anything happens, you have the cash to actually hold yourself up for 1 month. That way, if you have something that financially happens, it's not going to set you back. You'll have the money to quickly recover, and you're not going to be stressing, so that way you can still focus on the things you need to. So yeah, once you have your 1 month of your monthly spendings, the next thing that I want you to go ahead and do is actually start paying off your debt. And you're going to be contributing more than just the minimum. You're going to contribute whatever money you have left over towards your debt, so that way you can be debt free and you don't have debt slowly chipping at your finances, so that way you're not paying unnecessary interest or just fees. And this is going to mean that you're going to have to cut back on spendings. You're not going to be able to buy whatever you want. Just buy the things you need and try to keep it at a minimum, so that way you can throw as much money as possible and we can quickly get this debt paid off. So yeah, once you have your 1 month of emergency funds built up, you have your debt paid off. The next thing that I want you to do is build at least 3 months of your monthly spendings, and hopefully we can get it to 6 months if you actually have a lot of money left over to quickly get to 6 months. But if not, 3 months is perfectly fine. Just make sure that you get to your 3 months, so that way we can actually start investing and start building real wealth. And that's going to lead me right into the next thing, which is you're going to start investing all of the money that you were paying towards your debt. And like I said, you want to throw as much money as possible, just like how you were throwing it at your debt. You want to start doing the same things for investing. And just because you're debt free doesn't mean that you can go out and buy whatever you want. You still want to live below your means, so that way you can keep investing as much money as possible. And one way that I like to look at it is think of every single dollar that you invest as an employee working for you, and his job is to bring more dollars in, so those dollars can start working for you as well. And we just want to keep doing that, so that money can start compounding, and then eventually you'll be able to reach your financial goals. So yeah, those are the basic broad financial guidelines to actually change your financial future. And once you start doing these things, you want to be consistent and try to automate the process, so that way it's no friction between you having to do it every single time, and it just automatically gets done without you thinking about it. That's personally what I do, so that way I don't forget to invest, and it just happens every single week, every single time that I get paid. So yeah, stop wasting your money on dumb things that's not going to get you nowhere, and start using that to pay debt, and then start using that to invest. And if you're able to do all of these things, then you'll start to see progression in terms of your finances, and your net worth will start to go up. So hopefully you learned something valuable in this video. And if you want to see my progression in terms of my net worth of June of 2026, then you can click somewhere right here. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys agree with. And I'll see you guys on the next video.